Out of morbid curiosity, what aspects of anime have you actually enjoyed, if any? Well, I mean, I've already said I like some of it, like Legend of the Galactic Heroes, so I obviously enjoy some. Also, if you have not written off anime entirely, you're like, why do people do this? This is why people can't get into anime who are like intellectual people, who are normal people, and aren't just damaged and affecting Chinese fucking identity to replace their own lack of a personality. Is everyone who's in it's a fucking zealot who thinks it's all the shit. That's just stupid. I always give this example. I like, for example, like fucking, what was it called? Like, what was that genre even called? Was it called like rap metal or some shit? Like, you know, when like fucking Limp Bizkit and all that shit. I was loving that shit in back in the day. I still think some of it's pretty good now. I don't like every band. I don't like Power Man 5000 or whatever. I don't have to. It's like the best shit, can't I? And even then in my own way. So I think people go way too far trying to be like zealots. Like, the purity. Oh, you don't like it at all? Wow, you can't even see what's good about it, bro. It's like, mate, I've said some of it's really good. Just it's not the shit that y'all are going to sell everyone fucking One Pieces to shit. Or Dragon Ball Z. Grow the fuck up. I would like to recommend 2015's Death Parade. Okay, I've heard about it. Maybe check it out sometime. I will say, this is well, maybe I'll get into it in a second. If I were to make an argument why, I particularly like the usage of a bartender. One can say a bartender is a spectator of all walks of life, fulfilling the role quite well. Listen, that's totally legit. I'm not denigrating you, but that does sound, that last part, a little bit like something that like a lot of people probably say about that, and it's like that's the cool like take on it, whatever. Maybe I'm just being an arsehole there. I have been known to do that. And then some guy like replies saying some other shit about the bartender, because again, in anime world, like they can't just say like, I enjoyed this and here's why. I like the way you did right though by giving the hook. That's the thing they always fuck up with giving up anime or any shows, by the way. You don't tell them it's really good and I really like it and I really think this is really good and this one character, and you give away spoilers. What you do is you tell them like a thing that'll hook them into it, a gimmick that'll get them into it, a premise that'll get them into it. Like I'll give you an example. I won't do it right now entirely, but if I told you the premise of the novel The Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis, where it's this older demon who's telling this younger demon how to like fucking like lead a man astray and how to like play on his desires and stuff. It's what a genius premise, what a fucking sick concept for a book, right? I don't need to tell you anymore. If that sounds like it makes you curious, you might go check that out, right? That's what you got to do. Give them the hook, and don't ever give someone some whack thing that you just liked because of some weird idiosyncrasy in you. So what I would say basically is, the main issue with anime goes like this. The fans are what put you off. The fact that everything's 9 out of 10, like that ruins it. The fact that the popular stuff is just 14-year-old kids fucking diluting the ratings. What else? Oh yeah, people tell you stupid shit like, it gets really fucking good about episode 40. It's like, I'm out. Sorry. Nah, I'm not doing that. Nah, I'm not doing that, mate. I'm not going 40 episodes in and then find out it's shit. Like, you know what? People hate this fucking take. I don't give a fuck. I think Breaking Bad is so overrated. I thought it was decent with a couple of really good episodes. Lots that were like, just like, what is this? Some that was shit, by the way. Some characters that were shit. And every fucker told me, yeah, but dude, like when you get to season 4, it's unreal. I watched the whole thing. I was offended by how bad some of the ending shit was. Like, I won't do a spoiler, but a certain sort of Two-Face type scenario, if that's subtle enough for you. Like, some of that was fucking absolute trash. And y'all were eating that up. And when I watched the 4 seasons, not the hotel, obviously, when I got to like that point at season 4, I remember calculating, I think I'd watched like 60 hours of show. And I was like, have I invested 60 hours? Because retards on the internet basically told me this was God tier. I'm never doing that again. So what I do now is this. I aggressively and ruthlessly quit shows as soon as I see like there's just nothing going on here. This is a cul-de-sac and a date for me. So what I do instead is, yeah, I don't just watch episode 1. That's the classic problem that like casuals do. Like, I didn't get it. Wasn't that good? Or worse, like it's a fucking pilot or something, mate. So what I do instead is this. With anime, classic move for me is I find the really high-rated ones, the ones that look legit. And what I do is I download the first 5 episodes. If when I'm like 3 episodes in, I'm not getting anything, I'm out instantly. I'm never going to watch it again, delete it. If I get like 3 in, it's like, yeah, something here. I'll see if I get to 5. If I get to 5 and there's still nothing, listen, the time sink's too much there, mate. There's other shit in the world I can consume where it could be good from episode 2. I don't need to go to fucking episode 10 or 20 or whatever to get to your shit. Like, that sounds to me like you have a pretty limited view of things. I haven't watched that much stuff. And so to you, that is next level shit. You're like the guy constantly recommending those books. I'm going to be mean here. The sort of books that like Travis and Scara always talk about on their social media. To me, those are like just like slightly above average series in a fictional universe, and they're just into that series or that author's style or the characters. But like, that's not God tier shit, mate. Like, in fact, I'd even say to them, mate, Yeah, you read, but you're like some next level read. Like, you're wasting your time with shite. There's the classics you'll never get to. So anyway, whatever. I'm being an elitist there because that's what I fucking do. Why are you on the channel, dickhead? So what I would say is this. I'll start with the one I always say. The best anime ever, hands down, no competition, for everything, detail, depth, character development, plot, intrigue, like unusual twists of how you do things, like scale, scope, how many episodes, lack of filler. Every episode is fire, is the Legends of the Galactic Heroes. Or Legends of the Galactic Heroes. It's just sick. If you're one of those idiots who somehow can't watch stuff from like 1990 or whatever, like, I don't like the graphics, which is still fine, by the way. It's not like some super terrible stuff. Then you can watch this like remake they're making now, but they just haven't finished it. I haven't watched it yet, but it's apparently like newer graphics. So you can watch that. That's probably cool. I think the original's straight fire, personally. So I think it's epic. It's got the story building element. The length is super appealing. Anyone who goes, this book's too long, look how long it is. If it's a book straight fire, you're loving it when you're like quarter way. Oh my God, this is awesome. Philosophy is something that explores in that. And I know you're going to go, they all do that. Actually, the other one, Neon Genesis Evangelion was like, no, because here's the point. Those used philosophy as just like a shitty theme to the series. Like, I'm going to do this. Like what I appreciate, I actually even appreciate Westworld for this. The actual philosophy angle was pretty deep in that. And they were actually exploring it. And they were really trying to do something interesting. And it was central to the plot. It wasn't sprinkled in afterwards. One thing I hate about anime, and I'll actually skip to talk about this to Neon Genesis Evangelion, because it is one of the better animes, but it isn't the best. And the reason it isn't the best is exactly that. It is quite unique. Now, I will say the flaw with that show is if you've never watched the mecha shows before, you're going to watch it all and be like, what the fuck are all this? Because you won't know what the tropes they're sort of referencing are. It's a bit like Nietzsche. You sort of need to know some of the things that Nietzsche was referencing or the schools of philosophy he was addressing to really know why he's a super genius. So when you know what they're referencing, yes, it's very clever and it's got some aspects that are good and it's certainly compelling. But the saddest thing is this. When I started getting drawn in by the overall total plot above the episodes themselves, like the main plot, I was thinking this is really interesting. Like I was loving the symbology, like holy shit, like a Korean show has this in it. And I tell you what, I was so incredibly underwhelmed by the last episodes where I realized that whole theme, the whole Lilith angle and stuff, that was just window dressing. In fact, if you look it up, that's essentially what they did. They just looked up a bunch of stuff and they were like, right, well, we'll just make that the angle. So instead of it just being like mecha, but it's like Japanese mecha or something like that, it's like, we'll just drop that over. A bit like in Code Geass, another great one, probably one of the best. They put in all that whack shit about like Britannia and stuff, and you think, oh, where's this going? And again, no, that was just the particular theme. So in the same way as I made all those comments about like, all those TV shows, comic book TV shows, are just like drama, and usually a mixture of like a police procedural or Monster of the Week type format. And then they just go, this one is a Superman one, and this one is a Wonder Woman one, and this one is a guy who's Spider-Man. Like, they just ruin it. And so it just becomes like, wait a minute, I'm not actually watching a show about that. I'm watching some stupid high school teen drama about that. So that's the problem I had with Code Geass in that regard. But I'll get to that in a second, actually. The thing I like about Code Geass, and this is something I do like about anime, that's very unique, actually, is outside of like R-rated movies, in particular like foreign language ones, what you get in Code Geass that you don't get in a lot of other shows, it's similar in Death Note, is the villain or the anti-hero can be the main character and he is unleashed. What I loved about Code Geass is like just the sheer mania and the scale of what he's trying to do is fucking awesome. I did think, unfortunately, in season 2, a lot of that got really stupid. Like all the stuff they did with, spoiler, certain like other characters that had relation to him, as it were, I thought was very silly and actually just made for season 1 almost like defunct. Like a lot of the shit he was doing there, actually, it wasn't that, like he was always going to get into some issues in a sense. Like they actually sort of invalidated the plot in some ways. So I know everyone goes, how can you say that the ending is the best? Like, all right, mate, it was good. I'll just say that. It was good. But even then, some of the stuff that led up to it was absolutely outrageous. Like some of it really went off the rails. But I like the idea of the villain, the way they do that aspect. Similarly, like Death Note, that's one that the plebs will recommend with One Piece, but that's the key thing. It's the main idea of Death Note, it's what's fire, and the execution, I'd say, over maybe the first, 10, 12 episodes is pretty good. After that, especially once a certain character dies, it gets absolutely shit, and I even think the war with that character was drawn out way too long and was too much of, like, the shit that I hate. Basically, I'll tie it back into Code Geass. This is how based I am. One of the stupidest parts in Code Geass is a certain chess battle that they have where it's like he just like violates the rules of chess. It's like, oh my God, how can he do that? It's like, who wrote this? Like, at least look into it for fuck's sake. Like, that's not even artistic license. So similarly, like, they were trying to go too deep into, like, I know that you thought I'd thought that, but I thought that you thought that I thought that I thought that. And so I made it so that actually I was thinking that you think that I think that I thought that. And I instead thought that. And then I also made myself forget so that when I would think that, you'd think that I thought that. But later on, I'd remember that I didn't think that I thought that you thought that I thought that I thought that I thought that because I didn't think that. It's like, whenever people do that, they aren't Christopher Nolan or his brother Jonathan Nolan. And what tends to happen is or Alan Moore, they aren't actually good enough at plotting it. They get too clever for their own good, and it just comes off as wankery. It just comes off as like, well, I already knew what you would do, so I planned it before. It's like, there's a reason why to pull that off, you have to be the best at execution. You have to be a genius almost. So, yeah, Death Note's a great idea, has a pretty cool character. I did think it got shit at the end, and the way it ends is actually just offensive to everything about the show. Like, logically, it shouldn't have ended that way. What else? Let me think. I'm not going to do all of them, so I'll go quickly. Like, one, because, I know I actually referenced this later, because it's a similar question. I'm a massive fan of Satoshi Kon. Sadly, didn't make enough stuff. Just the human element is amazing in his work. The imagination is very unique compared to anime. I would suggest that if you're not even into anime. Start with Paprika. And then Millennium Actress. Cowboy Bebop is good. I enjoy it in the same way as I'll watch any movie Quentin Tarantino makes. Not all of them are going to be amazing, but I just like the style and what he does with it and how he weaves in all the references. Cowboy Bebop is very similar. The flair is obvious. I personally have a heretical opinion. I don't think there's all this amazing depth in the characters. I think that depth only seems amazing if you yourself have some paper-thin 2D fucking personality that's like, I am an edgy street punk who likes anime, and I also have this piercing, and this tattoo represents the way that my grandmother like raised me as a child. It's like, that sounds like someone affecting a personality, like trying to prove so. So to me, that's what that show is for. It's basically like, as in the story elements of Opposes, in my opinion. Again, I don't give a fuck. You're on my channel, homie. I'm just going to say what I think. I should probably have done actually a video about anime like this, but whatever. You get a free thing inside your fucking Patreon name in. That's the level of value I add, bitch. So I do think it's incredibly visual, though, and it's a really fun show to watch. Yeah, of course. Ghost in the Shell, pretty much all of that shit was pretty cool, because again, it's kind of a Westworld scenario. They play with the philosophy. I even like the Western movie. I think that's mad underrated. I think people went way too far going ham on that. I thought they did a very interesting visual style with it. But yes, obviously the cartoon and stuff was better. Yeah, I say cartoon dickhead, because anime is still cartoons. Calm down. You know what? I'll say one thing. I'm not going to reference any more, and we'll move on after this. But I'm going to say Dragon Ball Z, right? And you're going to go, what? After all that you said? No, it's not a good show. It's the worst show ever for filler. The actual plot isn't very good. Here's the problem. Dragon Ball Z, it fails where Code Geass and Death Note and even Legends of Galactic Heroes really succeed. Dragon Ball Z didn't understand what they had in Vegeta. I've apparently read something that like the guy who read it didn't particularly like the character. Like, you are a fucking moron. Goku is a trash character. That guy is like almost a fucking, I think, is it like Gary Stu is like the male version of the Mary Sue? That guy is trash. But he just, he's the best guy ever for no reason. Like Jesus just believes in everyone and he loves everything and he does train, but then he just always has to be the best. It's like they ruined that show. Here's what should have happened in that show, right? Initially, he should have always beaten Vegeta because Vegeta had like hate in his heart and then like jealous of him and all that. But as soon as Vegeta became like just more of an anti-hero and slightly more towards the hero side, they should have shown that ultimately in one of the main massive pivotal battles, it should really have been Vegeta that saved everyone. And what it should have shown was redemption from the dark side, that you can channel those strengths. Because basically, Vegeta was the guy who actually sent the message about hard work and about aspirations and ambition and what you could do. Sometimes you channel it for ill, sometimes you can channel it for good. Like, that should have been the message of that show, in my opinion. So anyway, it's not a good show, but that one character was so fucking wasted. He should have, or even if he didn't win, he should at least have had the lead a few times, or got more wins, or even beaten Goku at some point in time that would force Goku to... I could rewrite that show about 10 times fucking better. Like, the end of anime segment.